Major corporations will do almost anything to prevent their workers from starting a union, even if it means violating the most basic human rights. That's exactly what's happening in this country right now. And I have Farron Cousins from the Trial Lawyer magazine to talk about it. I saw this article. It's remarkable. We go back to the days of Henry Ford and put it on steroids. Lay this story out for us.
Well, it is interesting because what we're finding out now is that this practice of surveilling workers has not only been continuing over the years, but it's evolved. And one of the more disgusting things that we're seeing happening right now happens to be, of course, with Amazon at Whole Foods, which Amazon now owns. They're using heat map technology to try and determine if their workers are meeting in large groups while they're working, to see if they're possibly unionizing. Because anytime Amazon believes you have workers congregating together, that could be potential union talk. And that, of course, is dangerous. Of course, that's crazy that Amazon thinks that anytime 3-4 workers are together is a bad thing and that it's automatically a union. But that is what's happening in these 510 Whole Food stores you have across the country.
Yeah, so just for example, this Whole Food store, there's 95,000 employees, okay? There's over 500 stores that they have. So they're not just tracking their own employees. They're tracking their employees that then go out into the neighborhoods, and they're looking for demographics. What do the economic problems look like in that? I mean, what does poverty look like? Who's going to come in and buy food from us? But the ugly thing is your point. Are there 5 people meeting? Well, then there must be a conclusion that these people are trying to form a union, and then they send in the union busters. This goes all the way back to Henry Ford, doesn't it? He did it without this technology, but he did it by bringing in minorities, didn't he?
Right. Henry Ford, you know, he did have this company that would surveil the workers and try to make sure there was no talk of unions, even though there was huge talk of unions. And so what he'd do at a time when nobody was hiring African-American workers, he would bring in all these workers who would work for less. So it would scare the white employees, saying, well, gee, I can't talk about a union anymore because if I do, they're just going to replace me with somebody who'll work for half as much. And that is how he busted unions. And to an extent, that practice is still in place today. What we see these corporations doing, like you just pointed out with Whole Foods, they're looking at the demographics of the area. And if they say, okay, well, this area is pretty poor, you know, we've got a lot of minorities here, let's reach out and bring them into the store, because they've found when there's more minorities, there's actually less talk of unionization, less chance of a union forming.
First of all, the salaries are less, the benefits are less. They treat minorities in a way that Henry Ford did. Bring them in, and I'm going to pay them very little. This story, though, there's something called a MAC address, M-A-C address. And every phone has it. Every iPad has it. They're using this MAC address to do this. Explain it just a little bit. It's actually a fairly elegant kind of process.
It is, and this is crazy sneaky here. What it is if you're working at a store, sometimes even if you're just a customer, if you have your Bluetooth turned on your phone or your Wi-Fi turned on, you don't even have to connect to the store. The store has already pinged your phone and gotten the address. And so then what they do, they have their own data analytics companies that they use, they subcontract, or they do it in-house, and they then track where you're going, who you're talking to, where do you live? Do you live in a good neighborhood? Do you live in a poor neighborhood? Do you live, you know, with other people? Is there talk? Are you congregating with people from work, outside of work? And also, while you're at work, are you walking around and are you doing your job? Are you standing around too much? Every movement of these workers, both on and off the clock, is being tracked from that MAC address that they don't even know they've given to this company. They did it just from having Bluetooth turned on.
They're also adding facial recognition to it, by the way. Now, who are these people? I mean, who are these people coming up with this? Retail Next. Retail Next, one of the companies, develops this technology. It's just no different than Spyworks.
Right.
And it's Spyworks that not only affects them at their job, it affects them at home in their daily life as well. Senate Majority Mitch McConnell is still trying to give corporations immunity from the coronavirus lawsuit. This story is so ugly, and here's why. The U.S. Chamber of Commerce came in. Every time there's an emergency kind of situation in the United States, these freaks, these greedy freaks from the U.S. Chamber of Commerce, who, by the way, they're not mom and pop. They're 19 or 20 of the largest corporations in the world. So they pile on. ALEC is another organization that piles on. They pile on and they try to get the turtle man here to basically give corporations almost total tort immunity, no matter how bad the conduct is, relating to whether they make the workplace safe for the worker. Pick it up from there.
Right. You know, Mitch McConnell has long been a friend, a good ally of both the Chamber of Commerce, of ALEC, and he is out there pushing their agenda right now, which is complete corporate immunity from any kind of coronavirus-related lawsuits. He has personally said, McConnell has, there will not be another relief bill if it does not have this immunity. And to their credit, the Democrats said, okay, we'll think about it. We're not closed off to it. So this could be easily a bipartisan effort to hurt consumers.
The Democrats are in line for it.
Oh,
okay,
absolutely.
Nancy Pelosi comes out and says, well, we don't have a red line.
Yeah.
There's no when Nancy Pelosi says that, she says, I'm probably going to go along with them. And so to talk about what this means, they put in place immunity no matter how bad the conduct is of the corporation. The corporation may know that coronavirus is all over the premises.
Like Smithfield.
Smithfield is a great example. People died left and right. People were contaminated left and right at Smithfield. The folks then left work, took it home to their families. And ordinarily, you would have a lawsuit that would extend all the way to the workplace. Not anymore. Now, here's where it really gets ugly. They want that then to extend beyond the coronavirus. Turtle man here, if there's anybody in American politics that we should be worried about, it's this guy. He is the most insidious character in Washington, D.C. right now. And he's wholly owned by the U.S. Chamber of Commerce and ALEC.
Well, and you pointed out something great here. It's never just about what they say it's just about. When we're looking right now at this administration, the EPA says we're not going to enforce any regulations. We're cutting back surveillance or enforcement, Still thinking of the other thing we were talking about. But we're cutting back enforcement just so we can kickstart the economy. And what they're going to see is once people start building and the infrastructure, so they'll say, well, that worked so well. Let's just keep it. Let's just keep it. Let's make it, take it further. And that's what he'll do with this. Everything is always a test to see how much further they can push it. That's what this is.
Well, for example, they're working now with electric cars and automobile self-driving cars. Turtle Man he's already sneaking in stuff to not benefit. He doesn't want to benefit the industry.
Right.
He wants to benefit the corporate whores that he works for. That's what he wants to do. And so what he's doing is building little bills around the idea that if you're run down by a truck that's self-driving, sorry, there's immunity here. And so this starts taking with a little seed, and then before you know it, Turtle Man here has expanded it well beyond that. This is a dangerous little guy. Yeah. And why they can't get rid of him is a mystery to me.